Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call this meeting to order. And we will start by introducing our president, Mr. Will Burns, to conduct the meeting.
Yay! Woo! Look at him, Will.
Thank you, Rhonda. So the theme of the meeting is holidays. And I will just start by reminding you all that we won't be here for Christmas or New Year's. However, I'll tell you that again. Just want to make sure that sinks in here slowly so you guys can understand that. Now, starting off here, we have some guests. Welcome to our guests and all you viewers at home. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves or for to observe, that's your option, your privilege.
Please stand and just tell us your name and why you came.
Okay, my name is Ayanga. My friend Slobodan, he invited us to come over here and attend the meeting, and I found it interesting, and I think it would be very helpful meeting for my personal growth maybe, and also for the club. I don't know. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Song Chur. I'm from South Korea, and I'm just a guest of him. That's it.
All right.
And I'm Janet. I'm from Hong Kong, and when I heard about this activity, I feel, oh, that's what I really need, so I came for the conference.
Welcome to each of you. And welcome to our other guest.
Special guest.
Our special guest.
Thank you. I am Kristen Brookman. I'm from Davenport, Iowa. I am the Division E Governor here for you, and was in Ottawa last night to speak. I thought, I've never gotten to go to Golden Speakers, and I see you all at every district conference, so I thought, this is my chance. I stayed overnight, and I've been poking around Fairfield all day, contributing to your local economy, and I'm having a wonderful time. I'm really looking forward to the meeting tonight.
Oh. Well, welcome all. The mission of Golden Speakers is to provide a mutually supportive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth.
Yeah! Let's get some personal growth.
So, to not delay the personal growth any further, call our Toastmaster, Dan Craig.
Yo! Go get him, Dan.
Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished and honored guests, viewers at home. We have a very full meeting tonight, so we're going to get rolling right away. Introduce our role players. First, I would like to hear from our timer, Jesus Rios. Please explain your role.
My duty is to time every second of the meeting. Table topics are 1 to 2 minute speeches. The green light is turned on at 1 minute. The yellow light is turned on at 1 minute and 30 seconds. The red light is turned on at 2 minutes, and it will remain on until the end of the speech. Prepared speeches. They're usually 5 to 7 minutes. The icebreakers are 4 to 6 minutes. Some advanced level speeches are longer. The green light is turned on at 5 minutes. The yellow light is turned on at 6 minutes. The red light is turned on at 7 minutes, and it will remain on until the end of the speech. For longer speeches, we might consider giving a little bit more time. Evaluations are 3 minutes. The green light is turned on at 2 minutes. The yellow light is turned on at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And the red light is turned on at 3 minutes, and it will remain on until the end of the speech. Thank you.
Next, let's hear from our counter, It's going to be John Loros.
Good evening. I will write the speaker's name down, and then I will count how many uhs, ahs, ums, likes, you knows, so's, buts, ends, tongue clicks, pauses, Xeroxes, and false starts that you guys commit. So I'll be listening closely. Thank you.
All right, John.
And then Satish is going to be our grammarian.
Yay,
Good evening all. The word of the day that I picked is laudable and an adjective. It's used as an adjective and it means deserving praise, praiseworthy, and commendable. Example, reorganizing the files was a laudable idea.
Yay!
And as a grammarian, my job is to listen to everyone speaking tonight and note down how many times the words were used by each one of you, and also watch for the good or bad use of language. And at the end of the meeting, I'll be giving a report. Thank you.
Then we have several people we'll be hearing from later. The joke master is going to be Art Atkinson. We've got John Loros also serving as the ballot counter, leader counter. And our general evaluator is going to be Kristen Bruckman.
All right, Kristen.
Now, as you can see on our schedule, we have an unusual order tonight. We're going to have a talk before the table topics because it's about table topics. And to introduce that talk, I'd like to introduce the vivacious Gene Timing.
Yeah. Good. Good, Dan.
Tonight, Diane is going to be giving a talk from the Better Speaker series called Impromptu Speaking. The purpose of this speech is to help us as a club learn skills and techniques that can help us all individually become better speakers. We do table topics every meeting. This is an opportunity to develop a skill that's absolutely used all the time, both in Toastmasters and in your daily life. The title of her speech is Tips to Help Master Table Topics, and I want to just announce that with completing this project, she will have completed the requirements for the Advanced Communicator Silver Award, which is a very laudable achievement. With that, let's give a warm welcome to Diane.
It's time for table topics. Why are you all squirming? Why suddenly aren't you giving me eye contact? Tell me something, viewers at home. Is table topics, speaking extemporaneously, keeping you home on that couch? Good evening, everyone. Tonight, in case speaking off the cuff terrorizes you, I have 4 tips I'm going to speak about. There are more. To help you master table topics, which is impromptu speaking, which is extemporaneous speaking. Before I do, I just want to throw in 2 points. If you look at the chart, I hope you can see, I have kind of under the sea here, that's my little ocean waves. You want to bear in mind During the table topic strategy points, no matter what point I give you, you want what you have to say to have that opening that captures the audience, the body where your ideas and facts and stories are. And then you want to leave us with a takeaway, a conclusion, a wrap-up of what you spoke about. You also get 30 minutes, 30 seconds to think about what you're going to say. I've seen people very bravely stand and be able to be thinking while they're looking out. I've seen other speakers take a moment, close their eyes. So there's different techniques. You figure out what works for you. Tip number 1, express an opinion. You're asked a question. Find something in that question that you can have an opinion about. Here's the great news. You get to express your opinion for 2 full minutes. No one interrupts you. No one argues with you. You finally get to say what you want to say. The only person that's going to stop you is the timer by 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Express an opinion. Go for it. Come, viewers at home. Express yourself. Number 2, tell a story. Everyone has a story. We're story machines. And if you don't have a story, then tell someone else's story. Or tell a tall tale. Exaggerate. Have some fun. Again, 2 minutes. Nobody interrupts you. Nobody tries to outdo you with their story. So go for it. Come and tell your story. Again, based on the question that you'll be asked by the table topic master. You can spin off it. You can even take one word and tell a story. So, express an opinion, tell a story. The next is divide and conquer. And if you notice, I have 3 points underneath. I'll explain those to help explain divide and conquer. The Toastmaster Better series calls it two-way. This is where you get a question. You can divide it up into there's 2 ways you can answer the question, I suppose is the best way. Now here's an example. Jean Simonton Craig was asked recently, do you like surprise parties or how do you handle surprises? So she said, the good thing about surprises is, what I like about surprises is, and what I don't like. 2, the pro, the con. When I was young, when I was old. When I lived on the East Coast, and then when I moved to the West Coast. So think like that, and it might help you answer the question. Then you can take it a step further, the 3-way. So that might be what's good about it, what's better, what's best. When I was a baby, when I was a teenager, when I was an adult. Anybody else have an example that worked for them with doing a 3-way that they'd like to share? Anyway, I think you get the idea. The last is, you see a 5W and a 1H. So I'll decode that for you. There's nothing like the good old who, what, where, how, why to answer a question. Or use one of them. You don't have to use all 5. The 1H is how. Take that question and see if you can fit in how. How did it happen? How to make cookies that might be mentioned with a holiday theme. We like to have themes in Toastmasters, by the way, new people. And if you think about the theme before you come, you can be more prepared as well to speak. The 4th is what I call the last resort solutions. And there's about 4 of those mentioned in this Better Club series. There's also something called Going Deeper, which will be on the handout that I'll give to you at the end of the meeting. It'll be in the back. I photocopied these for you. The last resort, here's my favorite. It makes me think of some TV show where you ask for a lifeline. You are standing up here, you did the close the eyes method, whatever, the looking out. You're blank. Help. You need it from your audience. So you could, in a smooth way, once you get smooth after you do them for a while. Steve, what would you like to know about me and the holidays? And then you could help. Seth one time did a reverse, I remember. He saw a member struggling, or what perceived to be struggling. He put his hand up and he asked the speaker, a question. And out came this incredible table topic. He saved her, lifeline. So that's a last resort solution. You'll have these. There's a place for other strategies. Read those monthly Toastmaster magazines you get when you join.
Good.
And share with us what you find when you Google and so on. Table topics. Come, viewers, get off the couch. Come and express an opinion, tell a story, divide and conquer. Thank you very much.
Go!
Now we can't wait to plunge into table topics, armed with this new knowledge. And to lead us on our journey is going to be the table topics master, Darlene Martin.
Yo! Yeah, Darlene!
Thank you, Dan, Mr. Toastmaster, guests, Seth, honored and distinguished guests and viewers at home. That was a laudable speech.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Thank you. Okay, our subject today is holiday. So who would like to come up? And I will ask you a question. Yes, please come on up. Welcome. So I have questions 1 through 9. You pick a number and I'll give you a question regarding the holidays.
Number 7.
Number 7. How can we spread the Christmas spirit throughout the whole year? Thank you.
Thank you. What a wonderful question to get to answer. How can we spread the Christmas spirit throughout this season, throughout the whole year? So first we want to ask ourselves, what is the Christmas spirit? Christmas spirit reminds us of joy, of giving, of love, of celebration. Who else can think of some things that Christmas brings to mind? Who's got some ideas? Just popcorn style. Giving.
Fellowship.
Fellowship, yes.
Eating.
Eating.
Family unity.
What?
Family unity.
Family unity, yes, getting together with family. Retail, yeah.
Singing Christmas carols.
Yeah. Singing Christmas carols, yeah. Okay, great. I mean, a lot. You know, people say it's the most wonderful time of the year, to quote the song. Well, how could we spread this idea year-round? Well, maybe we could sing Christmas carols year-round. Well, maybe not. How about singing about these things and celebrating more and eating more and getting together with our family more and but you know, the music and all of the things that we do, the parties and all of the wonderful things about Christmas, we can do these things year-round. We may not call it Christmas, but it's the same idea. The love, the joy, the excitement. So we simply have that intention, and that's the way it will be. Thank you.
You got us off to a great start. Okay, who would like to try. Any guess? You're welcome.
Go Art!
Hey, Art.
Go Art! Go! Look at him. Bust the move.
Welcome, Art.
Pick a number?
Pick a number.
5.
5. Woohoo! I'm glad you have this one. You have just been given $100,000, which you must give away by December the 24th. Who will you give it to and why?
Toastmasters and guests and viewers at home. This is a fabulous topic. I'm really happy to have a chance to list off the charities that I love to support. Start with charities that are supporting children at risk. And I bet you there's not a person in the room that doesn't just feel terrific when they can support a child at risk. Can I see hands? Isn't this nearly universal? And there are so many organizations doing that good work that you could exhaust $100,000 in no time at all. And unfortunately, there's a lot of children at risk. But Feed the Children is one organization that I discovered that just does remarkable work, and their administrative cost out of $100, 95.6, or it was way up in the 90s that the money was actually getting into kids in the form of food. Really remarkable that an organization could do everything that they were doing and keep the administrative costs down to such a tiny fraction. And then there's all of the international organizations that feed children at risk in third world countries. This is a category of giving that is just endless. What else do I enjoy supporting? I enjoy supporting people that are willing to pursue a lifestyle that is anathema to me, and yet which is absolutely critical in this world, and that's what's known as the sannyasi, or the monkish lifestyle. There are people who just spend they're devoted to development of higher states of consciousness and of the developing of the silent side of life. And every time that I've been able to give support to those organizations, men's and women's, it's felt terrific. We have such a huge tradition in both hemispheres of monks and orders of monks and sisters, and it's just a critical thing for this world to develop both the silence and the activity sides of life. Thank you for the question.
Go!
I've just been told our time is over for table topics. So now we will vote, or did everyone, we'll check with our timer, has everyone qualified?
Yes, everybody qualified.
And could you read their names, please?
Yes, Diane with her.
No, that's
No,
not.
table topics.
Table topics.
Okay, yes, table topics. Steve Harper and Nart Atkinson.
Okay, so now we'll have 2 minutes to vote.
Thanks.
Okay, and now we'll have Stephanie Chambers, who will be our evaluator of our table topics.
Yeah, Stephanie. Go!
I'd just like to say how much I enjoyed Diane's speech about table topics before we actually got to see people doing the table topics, and I was impressed with Stephen with the way he used some of the suggestions that Diane had mentioned, such as turning it back to the audience and getting the audience involved in your talk, which I think was very clever. Very clever, because it really generated some enthusiasm for the topic. My main suggestion for Stephen, I thought you were fairly well structured, which was great. I thought maybe because you were trying to do the introduction, the what is, body, and then conclusion, you could actually use the stage to do that. You could think ahead that you're going to do the 3 points and start with the first one, go to the second, and then go to the third, and that would help. So that was my main suggestion for you, Stephen. In terms of art, I enjoyed your speech as well. I thought it was very rich and full of ideas, and obviously you were very passionate about the topic, which is great. I thought that a little bit would have been better to take a moment before and to think I'm going to do charities, to do with children, and then I'm going to do more sannyasi type donations. I know that sort of, I felt like it evolved, which was fine, but if you had thought ahead, maybe you could then have come up with the conclusion rather than running out of time and just being on the second point. Maybe if you thought you were doing two, you could have introduced the fact that I'm going to talk about these two topics. Then you could have used the stage to do first and then the second, and then you could have brought some little conclusion. I know it's challenging when you only have 2 minutes, but I thought because we learned a few things from Diane that maybe we hadn't thought about before, taking those 30 seconds. I didn't know it was that long you had to prepare. Maybe that will give us all a chance to really get more structure in our 2 minutes. So thank you.
We're going to begin our prepared speeches with a special talk from Kristen. Kristen Bruckman owns the Keynotes Vocal Studio and is also a faculty member at River Music Experience, both in Davenport. An opera singer by training, she began teaching voice while still an undergrad at the University of Iowa. In the summer of 2009, she joined Toastmasters, hoping to overcome a lifelong battle with paralyzing stage fright. She gave her icebreaker speech on August 27, 2009, and earned her DTM this past July. Along the way, she was a 2-time district finalist in both the humorous speech and international contests. Please welcome our Division E Governor, Kristen Bruckman, with Speaking to an Empty Room.
Think back to the last time you walked into a meeting armed with that killer presentation. It was a great speech and you knew it. Do you remember how that felt? You were confident. You were energized. You were ready for anything. Except the fact that there were only 3 people in the room. And you were one of them. Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, and our viewers at home, I have had several experiences as a Toastmaster that have been very, very scary. But there is only one that was scarier than my icebreaker, which I barely lived through. And that was having to speak to a nearly empty room. In my 5 months so far as Division E Governor, I've done a little bit of research, and I have found that there are 3 characteristics that are common to every effective Toastmasters club. First, they are proactive. Secondly, they have productive meetings. And third, they are professional. When a club is proactive, they're always prepared. They're always ready for guests. They have information ready. They have little business cards with their meeting information printed on the back. I have some with me. You can download these from the Toastmasters website for free. Put your contact information on the front, put your meeting information on the back, and when you're at church or in one of your other community groups, and someone says, "How do you do that? How do you look so confident? How can you get up and speak?" Just off the top of your head. Well, let me tell you about my club. Let me tell you how you can do this too. And here's my meeting information on the back. Come and join us. They're proactive. Secondly, meetings are productive. Just like this one. Your meetings are planned well in advance. I had a series of emails with Jyoti Raj earlier last week, planning where can they squeeze me in. because I didn't know for sure that I could come tonight until just a couple of weeks ago. Meetings are highly productive here. You evaluate everything well. I've never been to a meeting where they haven't evaluated for table topics. That's wonderful. That tells us how we can improve on our impromptu speaking, just as we can improve on our prepared speeches. Finally, you are always professional. I had an experience last year when I was Area 94 governor. I walked into a club that I hadn't visited previously, and the greeter at the door took immediate possession of my elbow and would not give it back. I went through the entire meeting with this woman glommed onto my arm, talking the entire time. At the end of the meeting, she hugged the stuffing out of me and thanked me for coming and begged me to fill out a membership application to bring back to the next meeting. I never got the chance to tell her I was her area governor and I was there to evaluate the effectiveness of her meeting. I kind of knew about the organization. Be professional. Let your guests speak. You don't have to do all of the talking. These are the 3 main characteristics of an effective club. How do you measure up? Do you feel like your meetings are productive? Are you proactive in seeking new members and inviting people? I know you're professional. I got some wonderful greetings when I came in today. Keep up the great work, Golden Speakers. Keep doing this, and you will never find yourself speaking to an empty room.
Go! Yeah.
We're going to take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Now we're going to continue with our prepared speeches. Next up will be Slobodan Dumzluski. Close. His evaluator, Scott Terry, will read the objectives.
Yes, Scott.
Slobodan is doing speech number 4, project number 4, How to Say It. It's really interesting looking back at what is entailed in this talk. I like the themes, just the headers of each one of these. Right for the ear. What a great thought. Short words, short sentences, short paragraphs. Be specific. Vivid words. Vivid words. Use them. Slobodan is the man, so we'll hear that. Incorporate rhetorical devices, smile, metaphor, alienation, triads. Use words economical, watch for jargon, something my wife reminds me of all the time. Say it correctly, subject verb, list faithful modifiers, misuse pronouns. All right. The executive summary is words are powerful, they convey your message and it will influence the audience and its perception of you. Word choice and arrangement need just as much attention as the speech organization and purpose itself. Speak selected, clear, accurate, descriptive, and short words that best communicate your ideas and arrange them effectively and correctly. Every word should add value, meaning, and impact to speech. The objectives are select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Use rhetorical devices to enhance the emphasis of ideas, eliminate jargon and unnecessary words, use correct grammar. This speech has been modified from 5 to 7 to be 6 to 8 minutes. Slobodan moved to Fairfield in the early 90s to get his computer science degree from MIU at the time. He was a laudable student and laudable being here. He joined Toastmasters 6 months ago with the intention of exploring his speaking skills. worked around the country for the last 15 years, East Coast, West Coast, North Coast, South Coast, and every coast in between that no coast exists. For the last 2 years, he's been on sabbatical. That's a concept, sabbatical, I've heard of that. You can actually do that and generate something. Enjoying traveling around the world and contemplating alternative ways to make a living. Slobodan, show us how you can do the wonderful way that you can do peak performance.
Go!
I use all those techniques by closing my eyes. Dear members, viewers at home, and honored guests too. Besides those laudable presentations and Scott's information about me, have you ever heard any other or experienced any other peak performances in your life? Moments in which somebody expressed a peak performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many people have actually.
Sure.
It's really amazing to be present when someone's mind, body, and spirit unite and produce an outstanding result. It's an awesome time to live through or to perceive as the other person. So if it's okay with you, I would like to tell you a story about a peak performance event and then share some of my thoughts about it. Is it okay with you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So, long time ago, in a faraway place, actually in Florida, an 80-year-old lady lifted out a back of a Buick to free her grandson who was stuck under the rear wheel of the car. A few hours later, 6 adults in the community couldn't leave the same car together. And that became a story, became a news. Several days later, a peak performance expert in Seattle, Washington, read about it, and he wanted to talk to the lady. So he found her phone number, and he calls her. Hello, my name is so-and-so, and I would like to ask you a few questions about the event. And then he hears, no, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And she hangs up. Well, he thinks that's probably some kind of misunderstanding. So he tries again. Hello, my name is so-and-so. I'm a professor at the University of Washington in Seattle. I have written several books, and I'm a world topmost expert on peak performance. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions about the event. And then she hears, no, thank you, I'm not interested. And she hangs up again. Well, being a peak performer himself, he flies across the country and knocks on her door. What do you think the answer was now?
No thanks.
No thanks. However, impressed by his persistence, she invited him for a coffee and a cake. So at the end of the whole event, he asks her, he wonders why she's not willing to talk about the event. And she told him, I'm scared to think about it. Scared? What do you mean by that? Well, if at my age I could lift a car, what else I could have done that I didn't dare to try? This always gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I'm missing out Ron because we can share those paper tissues. Because that's really a powerful thing. What comes to mind? The researcher asked her. Well, I always liked rocks, and I wanted to play with the soil. I wanted to study geology. I wanted to know more about the earth. But, we never had the money. I got married, then the kids came by, and I never did. Well, how about now? Money is obviously not the problem, and you have all the time in the world. How about now? And she said, you don't understand, young man. it takes about 5 years to complete the studies. Even if I'm able to do so, I'll be well over 80 by the time I'm done. And then the researcher says, no, my dear, you don't understand. In 5 years, you will be well over 80 with or without a degree. She became the oldest graduate of the University of Florida in geology school. Now, I think you probably noticed there were several different peak performance events in this story. The first one, like a spontaneous reaction to a perceived danger when the lady leads up the car. The second one is a conscious decision based on dedication and clear vision about somebody's duty. When the guy doesn't give up and flies across the country to get his information, to get his answer. And the third one is a presentation of determined pursuit, not for happiness, but for happiness too probably, but pursuit for someone's passion and dreams. So no matter how those moments, how these performances express themselves, I think there is an underlying connection between all of them. That is, in all these cases, the people are completely aware. They have a heightened awareness of the moment, of the current moment. They have a deep understanding of the current moment. And then react based on that deep connection with the current moment. So, I believe if we live with such an understanding, with such a consciousness, when we are completely aware of the significance of every moment and its impact on our lives, the whole life becomes a big performance. So my suggestion is, dream big, but then wake up to enjoy the reality. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Let's take 2 minutes and evaluate the speaker. And now I'd like to introduce Seth Braun, who will read the objectives for Jeff Shipley.
Hello, Toastmasters! Mr. Toastmaster, viewers at home, and Jeff Shipley. Jeff Shipley is returning to Toastmasters after an 11-month hiatus. And he has taken the laudable position of chair for our annual meeting. Let's give him a round of applause. Very important. Jeff will be completing project number 3. He'll be sharing a particular public speaking experience which provided tremendous personal growth. Project number 3 is Get to the Point, and it deals with general and specific purpose in the speech. A general purpose is to inspire or educate, and a specific purpose is to teach you how to bake cranberry scones or self-defense. Ha! Jeff's speech is Lessons Learned. Lessons Learned, Jeff Shipley. Help me walk that.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored distinguished guests and visitors, viewers at home. Tonight I'm sharing with you a tale that's very near and dear to my heart, very emotional, stirs a lot of feelings within me. It's a political tale. It's a tale of my dream to be an Iowa delegate to the Republican National Convention and how I ultimately failed at that and everything that came in between and all the lessons I learned. So I guess the story starts on January 3rd, the year of our Lord 2012, on caucus night, which is where the Democratic Party and the Republican Party get together and they conduct party business at the precinct level. There's a presidential straw poll, which the mainstream media, they take a lot of attention to that type of thing. I was solely focused on the other, less
focused on party business, the delegates. Because I knew I didn't care what the results came in on that night. I knew no matter what, I was going on vacation to Tampa, Florida at the end of August at the Republican National Convention, and I was going to be there with this laudable goal, hanging with all my friends in Tampa. Didn't matter to me. I had my political agenda set for 4 years. I had initially come across this when I was 19 years old. I had ran for this position previously, and as a 19-year-old kind of wandered in, not really knowing what was going on, I thought I did pretty darn well. And I remember leaving the convention hall that I'm going to come back in 4 years, 4 years older, 4 years stronger, 4 years wiser, 4 years worth of friends and allies all across the state in southeast Iowa that were going to help propel and put me to the top to achieve this goal so I could be there. I could be in the big show, the national convention, with all the political hacks, establishment blowhards, God forbid, politicians, but mostly my friends in the sun and me having a good time. So we're here on caucus night. We become a delegate. The Jefferson County Republicans meet again on March 10th, and they elect more delegates, of which me and my friends did our homework, and our allies, we went to the next step, to the district and state convention. We went to Mount Pleasant on an April afternoon, and I was really excited because everyone from Fairfield, Iowa did extraordinarily well. Everyone who put their name out there and went for a leadership position won. We went 5 for 5. That's batting 1,000. You can't do much better than that. So Jefferson County was on a roll. I was right there in it. We were going to Des Moines in June to do this last bit of final business, to elect these delegates. This is what I've been waiting 4 years for. We were going to go in there. We had our ducks in a row. In these types of convention things, the outcomes are predictable. You have, the political scientist gets a little crafty. You make a list of everyone on your team. You know who's on your team. You get them ready to go. You can count up the other team, the enemy. You know how many they are. And then you have kind of the people in the middle who might go either way. And we knew we were strong. We knew we were feeling good. We had just won, knocked it out of the park. So to me, I was coming in here. The only thing that stood between me and the culmination of my political activism in the last 4 years was a 3-minute speech. You all are familiar with 3-minute speeches, right? So I was feeling good about it. A 3-minute speech, that's nothing. We're going to slam dunk. We're going to win this thing. We're going to go home because that's what we came there to do. So that was the plan. So I rehearsed. I waited for this 4 years. I knew exactly what I was going to say. I knew what I wanted to say. I knew how I was going to say it. I knew the words I wanted to use. Because I've been thinking about this for 4 years. I wanted to give a grand speech. I wanted to present a vision. I wanted to inspire these people. I wanted to talk, communicate truths to voters and build the party. So I had it all scripted out. I don't know if you remember my speeches from last year, but I tend to read off a script. I like to know, just read off the script, memorize the script, no surprises. So that's what I did. I had my remarks written up, and I was ready to go. So we're there in June, did all the back work, all our friends are there. I'm there, I'm ready, I'm in a suit, I'm looking sharp, I'm feeling great. And something went wrong. We only had 2 out of 3 of our national delegates win. So there was a possibility for hiccups here. So I'm kind of in the corner. I'm like, well, I better rehearse this script I wrote for myself so I can present it as best I can, because that's the way I'm going to win. And so I'm preparing. I'm going over remarks again. Of course, I had done this countless times before, so it's kind of redundant at this point, but I'm doing it anyway. And I hear the chairman of the meeting, he mentioned something about, instead of, 3-minute speeches, maybe we just go down to 1-minute speeches. Oh, no. Now, I had heard this, but I'm thinking, well, okay, I know the rules. He can't just do that. There's rules of this convention, and something like that has to be approved by the whole body. So I don't know how this is going to be enforced. Obviously, he can't just do this. I'm going to stick to my 2-minute, 15-second remarks that I had perfectly scripted, because frankly, that's all I could do. I didn't prepare to do anything else but stick to my remarks. So I'm just going to do it and let the chips fall where they may. Well, I get up there and I'm giving my speech. Hello, fellow Republicans. It's an honor and privilege to be considered this position. When we're facing insurmountable debt and trillion-dollar deficits, we must unite as a party to do blah, blah, blah. And I'm giving a point. I'm speaking about Eric Holder, how our Attorney General had sold guns, and of course, the Fast and Furious scandal was supposed to ignite conservatives, get them angry. And I hear these 2 old ladies 4 rows back. Time! Time! Wow, that's kind of a pickle, ain't it? I'm I'm halfway through my remarks. But here's the thing. And I'm paralyzed because there's so many thoughts running through my head. I know these aren't the rules. These old ladies are just getting uppity. I'm actually the sergeant of arms. It's my job to enforce the rules of these conventions. And this is clearly, but what am I supposed to do? I'm paralyzed. I'm not prepared. And so I look down and I'm trying to put something together. I'm like, I try to rush 2 or 3 more sentences to give a firm conclusion to at least save some sort of sense of dignity from this. These old ladies wouldn't let me do it. Time! So I give up. I walk off the stage, and I knew I blew it. You can't just walk off. I let 2 old ladies hand it to me. It was done, right? No way I'm winning after this. So I knew it was over. It was blown. And I pout about it. I tried to blame this chairman, and that is a whole other story. But the only person I could do is blame myself. Because anyway, what ended up happening? The top 3 vote getters get in there. Number 3 is the gentleman I nominated. He gets 134 votes. In 4th place is Jeff Shipley with 133 votes. Oh. Lost by 1 vote. There goes the dreams. Right out the window, right? That's it. That's history. Open and shut. That's all there is to it. But let's think about this for a second. What went wrong? Well, first, I have these ridiculous rigid remarks. I prepare in a ridiculous manner. No, I was rigid, completely inflexible. The slightest amount of pressure snaps me. I'm paralyzed. My audience, right? These people, it was late at night. There's a lot of politics already. It's getting 9, 10 p.m. They don't want to hear some verbose speech I give. They just want to say, hey, I'm Jeff Shipley. I really appreciate working for you. I'm involved in this, this, and this. I've worked really hard to give here. We love your support. 30 seconds, bam, done. I couldn't do it. I was too rigid, stuck to my remarks. And the third thing I learned, and of course, double checking the expectations of what was expected to me. If I just would have had, hey, how long is this supposed to be? 3 minutes to 1 minute? And if I would have been adaptable, prepared in an adaptive, be able to evolve, set to circumstances, there's no problem. I'm in and out of there. I get what I want. Anyway, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. The good news is I went down to Tampa, and I didn't even want to be a delegate. That stuff's boring. I got a guest pass. I was on the beach every day with my friends. I got everything I wanted. It was just all in my head the whole time. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed this speech.
Let's take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Now I believe it's time for us to vote for the best speaker. Mr. Timer, did the speakers all qualify? And read their names. Who qualified?
Christine Bridgman, Slobodan, Sumosliski, yes. That's the 2 speakers who qualified.
Okay, we'll vote for either Kristen or Slobodan.
How about Diane? Yes, Diane, she did qualify as well.
Okay, 3 choices.
That's tough.
Yeah.
All good speeches.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. For our visitors, the evaluation portion of the meeting is really the heart and soul of Toastmasters. This is where we hear how we did on our speeches, on running our meeting, and we get immediate feedback, which helps us to grow and learn. What I'm going to do is introduce the different speech evaluators, and then I will call for reports. Following that, I'll give a general evaluation of the meeting, so you can see how this works. Our first evaluator is Scott Terry to evaluate Slobodan.
James.
I'm sorry. I'm out of order.
No.
I'm just following the agenda here. Can I go with Scott?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
Scott
Go,
Terry.
Scott. Yay!
All right.
Get him, Scott.
apparently I'm here twice then. I'm here and then I'm here. Slow down, great talk. I loved how you started, pulled yourself out, and asked a question to the audience. But you didn't need to ask if it was okay to ask to tell your soccer. You just like, I'm now going to tell you something. You've already pulled them in. You don't need to pull them in a second time. I love your energy, your passion, your power that you're projecting into what you're saying. Slobodan, what you said was just amazing. We all want the peak performance, and you showed that. You need to play a little bit more with how you're going to actually utilize a couple of things that were in the book in terms of using your language to create a greater bit of the story that you're trying to utilize. For example, if you're going to talk about geology, to mention some of the rocks that she's in. If you're going to talk about the power that she projected in lifting the car, use your body gestures along with the words. So you did a little this, really like, she reached down and she grabbed the car. The car! It wasn't, can you believe what she did, Seth? She grabbed the car.
How she did that?
You don't know. What you kept doing, the thing we're going to work on, is you kept going like this, and I'm like, is somebody in the room? Is there a rabbit in here? And you're moving around, and you didn't need to do that. Just slow it down. Christian, it was amazing what she did. I'm going to take 1 point, one person. Okay. The energy, the topic, and again the delivery really created such a vivid presence in our mind that it really makes us want to hear more of what you're going to say. You piqued us, you piqued the performance in us, and it was just taking that to the next level, which is where I'm going to see it in the next talk. And so thank you so much for your talk today.
This agenda says
Yes.
that I will now introduce Jean Summerton to evaluate Diane Denbaugh.
Yo!
Fellow Toastmasters and guests and viewers at home.
No!
That was Diane's opening. I caught everybody's attention, didn't it? Diane is just such a pleasure to listen to. Right from the very beginning, she took us into what is it like to be in a Toastmasters meeting and why is everybody squirming, including the people at home. That opening was brilliant because it included everybody, including our viewers at home, you guys. And she invited you to get over it, come in, listen to her talk, and then come on down. Brilliant. She gave us, what's in it for me to listen to this talk? Well, are you terrorized? Are you squirming? And is that an experience that you enjoy? And maybe you'd like to get over that. So listen to what I'm going to say. She gave us a structure, 4 points, and a chart that we could refer to keep coming back and really reinforcing it for ourselves. Each point she gave examples. You give a point and then you give an example to clarify so that really your audience is understanding. That was very well done. And Diane is a teacher. She's been a teacher for years, so it comes very naturally for her. Really, the only suggestion I could come up with for Diane, I'm going to give you a lot of good points, is that in her 5 W's and the 1 H, The H got into the W's.
That's what I
She said who, why, how, and it was like, whoa, how did how get in there? It's like all those words in there. And then she said, but then of course there's how. And I went, no, we already had how. So that would need a little work, just a little work. But back on Diane's strong points, great vocal volume. She wanted to make sure she was projecting. I felt she was very much projecting. And the pitch, go for it. And she had arms, lots of arm activities. I make these little stick figures here to try to remind myself of what she was doing. Diane is tall enough that when she does arms, it's a big impression. Body language. She was leaning in. Did you notice how Diane does that a lot? It's like her enthusiasm is infectious and she's leaning in and engaging with us. She gave us some extra tools, handouts. How considerate of her that we can have those to refer. And then also referred us to the monthly Toastmaster magazine, which, again, we can continue to learn and grow on these skills. This invitation to these potential members, you guys out there that are home sitting on the couch, now you know why you can come here, how you can learn, and it's because of Diane inviting. Terror is no longer an excuse. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. I will now call Seth Brown to evaluate Jeff Shipley.
Go. Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, Jeff Shipley. Tonight I will be evaluating Jeff based solely on the manual. I'll be going down in one of my least favorite ways of evaluating, which is the scale, the 1 to 5 scale. Fundamentally, the general purpose of the speech was clear. I gave you a 4. I would have, I'll tell you why at the end. I'll give you some feedback on how I think that could have been a 5. The specific purpose of the speech, was it clear? Well, I'm going to ask you, was the specific purpose of the speech clear, yes or no?
Yes! Definitely.
Yes, it was obvious. It was about him giving a speech that he learned something from. The speech's organization supported the speech's specific purpose. Give you a 4. Give you a 4 because you didn't prepare ahead of time for the meeting. You didn't contact Jyoti Raj and say it's going to be, you need 8 to 10 minutes. And this is a teaching moment, a teachable opportunity for our club. What happened to sending the VP of Ed the speech title and the project number? That used to be standard practice in Golden Speakers. Now the matrix comes, I don't know what you're doing. I'm looking at it and it doesn't say. What happened? Did someone not tell you? Did your mentor forget to lay that on you? Send the VP of Ed the title of your speech and which project you're doing. That's what we do in Golden Speakers. It's not like some cool thing some people do. We all do that. You caught the brunt of that. I'm sorry. The main points and supporting material contributed to the speech's specific purpose. Abso-freaking-lutely. That was awesome. What a great story. How many of you were just engaged by that story?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how many of you just felt it? The old ladies, time. The beginning, body, and conclusion reinforced the specific purpose. I wanted to give you a 5. You got a 5 on the content, but I want, the beginning and the end just could have been tightened up. We're going to get to that a little bit. The speaker achieved the specific purpose. We already. When this is repetitive, redundant, 1 to 5 scale thing again. Of course he achieved the specific purpose. The speaker appeared confident and sincere with minimal nervousness.
Yes,
definitely. The speaker did not rely on notes throughout the speech. I gave you a 5. You know, you used your notes, but you did it. See, if you're going to use notes, just do it. Boom, look at my notes. Done. Okay, here's what you could have done differently. You start out saying, you're going to learn 3 lessons that I had to learn the hard way. Just tell us that right off the top. Then your general purpose is complete. Awesome story, casual conversational tone that was completely endearing and drew me in. Loved it, want to hear more.
Yo!
Laudable evaluations by all evaluators. Please vote very, very quickly for the best evaluator, including Stephanie, our tabletop topics evaluator.
We need to know who qualified.
All right, has everyone voted?
Yep, it's done.
I would like to call for reports. Jesus, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. Are you guys ready?
Yeah!
That's what I'm about. Dean Samington took 1 minute and 37 seconds doing the introduction for Diane Denbaum. And Diane took exactly 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Steve Harper, 1 minute. This topics, 1 minute and 47 seconds. Art Atkinson, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Prepare speeches. I got Scott Terry. He took 2 minutes and 53 seconds doing the reading the objectives for Slobodan. Yes. And then we got Seth Brown. He took 1 minute, 5 seconds reading the objectives for Jeff Shipley. Christine Bridgman, she took 4 minutes and 35 seconds on her speech. Slobodan, 6 minutes and 40 seconds on his speech. Jeff Shipley, 8 minutes and 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I feel like saying time. Stephanie Chambers. Evaluator, Stephanie Chambers, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Scott Terry, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Dean Simington, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Seth Brown, 3 minutes and 29 seconds.
Ooh.
That's it. That's my report.
Yo!
Thank you, Mr. Timer, for that laudable report for all of our laudable speakers. I would like to now call for a report from the awe counter. John.
Yes, I have a laudable report here on Diane. She was clear.
All right.
Steve Harper, 3 uhs, 1 Art Atkinson, a laudable report also. He was clear. Stephanie, laudable. You. Slobodan, 1 but a laudable speech.
Oh.
Jeff Shipley, 1 you know and 1 so. And Seth Braun, another laudable performance.
Oh.
Clear. Thank you.
I think I have just been laudably upstaged.
Oh.
Yeah.
Satish, I would like to call for your report, please.
Here we go.
Good go.
I'll be very quick. So we have Jean, Darlene, Slobodan, Seth, and Jeff use it 1 time. Each the word laudable, word of the day. And our guest used it 4 times already. And John was trying to give me a hard time. And I think I counted all 5 of them. Okay, and some nice uses that I have noted. First of all, I like the word when you welcome Jean. Vivacious. And of course the word when you introduced the speaker, paralyzing, stage fright. I like that. Probably it's yours. And Jean, husband. That was nice. And such a pleasure to listen to Diane. Terror is no longer an excuse. And Diane squirming, express yourself. We are story machines. Steve, joy of giving. Art, silent side of life. Stephanie, rich and full of ideas. And Kristen, proactive, productive, professional. The whole speech was filled with a lot of nice usage. Let your guest speak. You don't have to do all the speaking. I had learned that. Scott Slobodan, show us the wonderful way. I mean, when you introduced him. And Slobodan, I've noted what I dared when that lady says something. That was nice, but I didn't get the exact words. Deep understanding of the moment. And Seth, I did note down a lot, but I'll be quick. Jeff, I like one thing which I really liked about the verbose speech, which was, the use. That's something I learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. That was laudable. The agenda is telling me that we have a 1-minute report from the greeter and joke master, Art Atkins.
Go, Art. Go.
My favorite animal. Our teacher asked what our favorite animal was, and I said, fried chicken. She said I wasn't funny. But she couldn't have been right. Everyone else laughed. My parents told me, always tell the truth. I did. Fried chicken is my favorite animal. I told my dad what happened. He said the teacher probably is a member of People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. They really love animals very much. Me too. Especially chicken, pork, and beef. Anyway, my teacher sent me to the principal's office. I told him what happened, and he laughed too. He told me not to do it again. The next day in class, my teacher asked what was my favorite animal. I told her it was chicken. She asked why. So I told her it was because you could make it into fried chicken. She sent me to the principal's office. He laughed and said, don't do it again. I don't understand. My parents taught me to be honest, but my teachers don't like it when I am. Today my teacher asked me to tell her what famous person I admired most. I said, Colonel Sanders. Guess where I am now?
You know, I haven't had dinner yet. We are already behind time. I was supposed to be finished 30 seconds ago, so I'm going to keep this very, very short. First of all, thank you so much for letting me come to your meeting. I have been hearing about Golden Speakers ever since I became a Toastmaster, and I'm delighted that I could finally experience one of your meetings. There are a lot of good points here. I really like the idea of having a table topics evaluator. I will propose that to my home club to see if we can begin to work that in. I think it would be very, very beneficial to receive feedback on your table topics as well as the prepared speeches. I liked the structure of your meeting. Your agenda is quite wonderfully laid out with all of the times, which is why I'm rushing so fast to get through this. Generally, I think the thing that you could do a little bit better is what Seth mentioned. Make sure that you get your information turned in. If that is your club procedure, follow it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Just take a moment, send in the speech information, do what this club requires, and that will help it to run smoothly and help you to be a more efficiently run club. I would like also to invite anyone who wants to investigate the possibility of doing some district service in the next year or two to talk to me after the meeting. I do need your help. I have a need for 4 club consultants right here tonight for 2 clubs that are in the area that are really suffering in their membership. We need an area governor coming up for next July, and we will need a division governor coming up for next July. So if you're interested in pursuing your distinguished Toastmaster, these district service opportunities will give you the chance to fulfill that requirement. Please feel free to talk to me, and thank you again for having me tonight. It was a lovely meeting, Mr. Toastmaster.
And now, it's time for drum rolls.
Who is it?
For best table topics,
Who's
we
gonna be-
have a tie, Steve and Art.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Arm wrestle. Arm wrestle.
Because of budget cuts, we only have one side. So they're going to fight over these 2 items. Yay! Fun.
Yo!
Our best speaker tonight was Kristen Bruckman.
Thank you.
And one more drum roll for evaluator.
Oh my God! What a surprise!
Bring the audience.
And now I better leave the area.
So with that, I'll take any comments from our guests. If you want to say anything here about your experience here tonight, what you saw, what you felt.
You could say your name again as well.
I feel that I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
And what's your name?
Janet.
Janet.
Thank you.
It was very interesting, and I observed many helpful tips how to give a speech and how the speaker behave, and to evaluate myself on the way how I do and what I do mistake. So it was good, and I'm thinking to come over here again and see and learn more. Okay.
Good.
All right. Please do. I find that myself, even though I've learned a lot since I started, that there's so much more that I have to learn from the experienced speakers, and maybe even those that are less experienced than me that make very good points, that keep me honest, so to speak. So, I'll close up here in just a minute. I ask that each of you please dedicate a small portion of your time this evening to help us pick up here and get the area back in order. And I will remind you that we will meet next week. However, for Christmas and New Year's, we will not be meeting here, or anywhere for that matter. So, I will see you here next week. Please stick around for a few minutes, and adjourn.